Do you ever feel like that movies don't exactly hit the same? Well, today we might have an answer for you. Today I wanted to react to this video, The Real Problem with Movies Nowadays by OneCloud9, and I watched this video a very, very long time ago, and I remember loving it, and I put it in my React Soon playlist, and I never got around to it. So today we are finally going to be reacting to it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels, guys. Let's watch this video together, The Real Problem with Movies Nowadays, and I might have to bounce around on your screen right now because I know iCloud likes to go to the right as well.
You know, I've watched a lot of movies and TV shows in my day, and I've seen a lot of crazy scenes. Like, I mean, wild scenes, like scenes that borderline belong in a goddamn porno or something.
It's true, though. I paused at the wrong time. It's true. Like, a lot of studios nowadays are kind of relying on this fact every once in a while, too.
Crazy scene. But my main problem with shows and movies nowadays are that they're way too over-sexualized. Like, it feels like you can cover up a bad show if you just add titties, ass, and a shirtless guy in here, bro.
And it'll work. It'll work. People will watch it. People will forever be watching those shows just because, and I hate to say it, but we all fall victim to it, man. You can cover up so many plot holes and different things as long as you plug in somebody along the lines of Sydney Sweeney, you know? Like, it's crazy.
Like, that's all you need. And you can see it in a lot of popular movies and TV shows nowadays. Like in shows like Euphoria and The Idol, or in movies like 365 Days or 50 Shades of Grey. Or even...
Yeah, and you can just... all that people care about is their fantasies, which is wild. And I can't even blame the movie studios, to be honest with you, because it's very, very smart to do something like this. It's very smart to hack into our biology. It's very smart to get us hooked on what we typically like to see, because if you guys don't know, like, I won't get into the entire thing now because I'm sure you've heard it on other channels if you're coming from another channel, but we could dive a little bit more deep into it, of course. But long story short, these same neurons in your brain fire when you're looking at a pretty girl and when you're doing drugs. So it's very smart, and I don't blame movie studios for hijacking that part of our brains and making us cover up any potential plot holes in their writing.
In the movie that I'm pretty sure y'all all know I'm finna talk about today, The Challenger. All these shows and movies aren't just popular for their stories. They're popular because they have crazy, wild sexual scenes in them.
Yeah.
It feels like that's all you need to make a popular show nowadays. And
yeah, it's true. It's true. That scene, that definitely took over. That was all of the hype, too. Remember watching the first trailer and seeing Zendaya in the bed with those two guys? And I still haven't watched this movie now, like, to this day, but I know that there was a ton of hype behind that movie. The memes of Tom Holland were hilarious.
These producers and writers are realizing that shit and just pumping that shit straight out.
And it's only getting worse over time because, of course, we are all getting more addicted, and not we all. I'm totally good in that department. We need to do better, by the way. You can't be addicted to lust. You can't be addicted to adult content because it's getting worse and worse over time, and you're not going to be able to control yourself. You're not going to be able to control yourself, and you arguably probably already can't control yourself.
Writers and producers are caring less about making a good story and more about keeping audiences entertained with just attractive people. But nowadays, it feels like doing those quote-unquote scandalous scenes are necessary. Y'all seen the thumbnail. Y'all know what I'm finna talk about. Before we really get into this video.
It's so true, man. Again, I still haven't watched the movie, and this goes to show, like, this a long time overdue to react to this video. I forgot, like, totally what the video was about. How many people do you think actually just watched that movie because they saw a sexual scene with Zendaya and they were just hoping, you know, they'd get a little bit of a slip? Obviously, most men.
Follow my Twitch. I just got affiliated and I'm trying to get partners.
W.
Support. Let's get to like 10K followers or something. Appreciate y'all. Now let's get back to the video. Now, disclaimer. This video was made before the movie came out. I haven't seen this movie and I don't know what this movie contains. But
yeah, and I don't exactly know what the movie contains either, but this is pretty well the entire takeaway of it. Dude, I don't know how Tom Holland could possibly live with himself. I don't know. But this movie was incredibly hype when it came out.
From the goddamn trailer, I ain't gonna lie to you. It looked like it's finna be a whole goddamn porno.
Yeah.
Shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, they literally hinted strongly at Zendaya. Keep in mind, the girl from Shake It Up. Disney princess.
I know.
MJ from Spider-Man.
Dude, it's crazy. And I know I'm going to hear the argument too. I know I'm going to hear it. It's like, oh my God, people grow up. Let her do what she wants. But I'm like, that's your branding though. There are kids still growing up on Shake It Up. And then they're going to follow your career wherever you go. And I know that's like arguably not Zendaya's problem, but it's gross.
Literally, one of every straight male's favorite celebrity crushes is having a threesome.
And you know what, to be honest with you, I don't get it. I think Zendaya is so unbelievably overrated. I don't know about anything about her as a person. I'm just talking about like all these guys completely SIMPing over her. I think she's so overrated, and I don't know why the hell you think about this for a second, okay? Your brain is so messed up that you want to see her, you know, get double teamed by two guys. That's not natural. That's not natural. That's your lust addicted brain.
In a movie. What the fuck? Like, this is shit that you'd had to pay thousands of dollars to see back in, like, the 2000s. Like, and again, like I just said, we don't know if she's actually gonna have the 30-something, you feel me? Like, it's probably not gonna happen. There's gonna be some movie magic.
But regardless, like, the intent is there. That's the marketing of the movie, and that's what everybody wants to go see, and that's enough for some people. It's like, you saw the neck kissing and everything. You saw, like, oh my god, they're gonna do this. It's so taboo.
Based off watching that trailer, it's really crazy to me how someone of Zendaya's caliber actually accepted this role. And the crazy part about it is this isn't that unnormal. It feels like nowadays sex sells more than it's ever been.
And why is that? I wasn't wrong at the very beginning. Everybody in this entire world's getting more and more addicted to what they can't control. These companies have hijacked our brains, man.
I'm going to blame it on OnlyFans, the rise of Twitter porn. Hell, all the porn websites we all have access to 24/7 whenever we feel like. It feels like
I did not know I could hold down the space bar there this entire time watching YouTube ever and play this video at 2x speed. You learn something new every day. I was about to pause it.
Like, sex sells way more than it has in the past. And this is...
I don't know if it would have... Yeah, it probably does. Because I was thinking, like, they've never really tried it, have they? They've never really, like adult content and softcore adult content has never been so out there in real life for us to experience before. But at the same time, it would have always sold no matter what. But at the same time, counterpoint again, men have never had their wires so scrambled that they are nowadays. I'm trying to be so careful for YouTubers and trying to actually avoid, saying the actual word to get age restricted over here.
This is kind of concerning. Now, I know all y'all probably wondering why the fuck am I saying this. I mean, if you look at my channel and look at my thumbnails, it's pretty obvious that I have, you feel me, abused this narrative.
He's just playing the game, man. He's playing the game. It's necessary. We've all done that. There's nothing wrong with that. Hate the player, or excuse me, hate the game, not the player.
With my thumbnail. Like, for God's sake, I literally have this on a school detention video. Why the fuck should she have any involvement in this video? All she has
is she even part of the video?
Has to offer is a fat ass. And
oh my
sex
god.
Is always sold. And this isn't new, but like, it feels like it's selling way more nowadays. One of the culprits is obviously the rise of OnlyFans.
Yeah.
I feel like another culprit is TikTok and Twitter.
It's all it doesn't matter like what specific site it is, because everybody is accessing softcore adult content no matter where you're going. And of course, it's going to lead into hardcore adult content, and you're going to get even more addicted to it, because now you have things like OnlyFans. Now you have things like AI chatbots where you can get your deepest and darkest desires sold to you, and you're only going to dive further and further into the rabbit hole. And like I said at the beginning of the video, man, these apps and these movies and these companies have hijacked the exact same neurons and connections in your brain that activate when you're doing drugs. It's incredibly addictive, and now it's become completely normal in movies. So you look at it, you start going, and then all of a sudden you start touching yourself after. It's crazy, man.
The rise of TikTok and Twitter has just promoted a lot of sexual culture. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm finna get into. Every single YouTuber on this platform has already talked about this. You know I'm not finna get into this shit. You already know what I'm finna say. You scroll on TikTok, you see fat asses, it gets you horny, you go jerk off. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
And now you're getting that same issue with movies. You watch a Zendaya movie for 2 hours, and that's assuming that you have the attention span to actually be capable of keeping it for 2 hours. You watch here's another thing. Anyone But You was it around this time this movie came out? Regardless, Anyone But You. What's the only reason you could possibly tolerate that movie, huh? They are so smart. Their studios are so smart. They made the rom-com that all the girls will go and see. Or it's like, oh my god, it's like the 2000s, and it didn't feel that way at all. But why did every boyfriend go to see it? Right? Like, let's be real.
I mean, I'm just being real. If you like the girl enough and you can't find a replica on Pornhub or whatever, you buy her OnlyFans. That's how they make money. Blah, blah, blah. Same thing with Twitter. Moving on. This sole process right here is ruining television and movies. Like, when you have a movie that's supposed to be about tennis, based the trailer off of a goddamn threesome.
I forgot that was about tennis. He's completely accurate.
No, some shit's gone wrong with society. It's like they turned a porn script into a movie. No joke, no lie. This is exactly what they did. And it's weird as hell. And the reason why they could do something like this and this gets promoted to the status that it has is because we all eat this type of shit up like Ice Spice's ass. See? Mm-hmm. See what I did there? Now you're...
You know what I love about this? You know what I really respect about people like Cloud? Is he's being genuine. He's being real. Look what he did just now, right? I really respect that.
Thinking about Ice Spice's ass. Probably thinking about eating it. See, your mind is way, and I mean way too corrupted by porn.
And now people would take that too. If you can't control yourself, people would take that and you're like, maybe I will go look up Ice Spice a little bit. And then further activities will take place.
I was finna say Ice Spice's apples. That sounds dirty too. I don't even know what to do. But we all eat shit like this. I guarantee this is a bunch of people's dream movies, bro. Like I guarantee all the little.
Sorry, I thought that he was gonna say I guarantee it was people's dreams about Ice Spice.
City girls are going to the theaters in packs, finna watch this shit. Like the goddamn movie's supposed to be about tennis and a threesome, and then it's supposed to turn into like a love triangle based off of this threesome.
Yeah, they got the love triangle. They got the love triangle, which is what girls are good to see, and girls like Zendaya a lot for some reason too. And then the guys are going there just to see Zendaya, perhaps see her naked, and then the even weirder ones are gonna hope that she, you know, gets double teamed on camera.
I'm like, bro, who thought of this movie, bro? Bang Bros? And again, I gotta keep on saying this. I haven't actually watched the movie yet, so I could be wrong.
It doesn't matter what the movie ended up being about. That was the promotion. That's obviously the intention to get people down in the audience. 100% that was the intention.
From what the trailer gave off, this is exactly the plot of the movie. I'm not trying to diss any of the actors who put their hard-earned time and effort into any of the roles they played, but it is what it is. From our perspective right now, this movie looks like it's gonna be over-sexualized to the
it looks like it. It doesn't matter what takes place in the movie. I don't care if the rest of the movie is actually about tennis. This is the promotion for it, and that's what got people's butts in the seats.
Extreme. I feel like that's a big problem in our society. Because the line from films and adult films is getting closer and closer each and every year.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly believe that we're going to get that eventually. Like the 18 plus movies, but you know what? They're going to move it down to 13 plus as well. And there's going to be movements. There's going to be movements of weird people talking about like, oh, I could bring my kid to see this if I want to. It's crazy. That's going to happen. I wholeheartedly predict one day as well that we are going to see actual, like, not necessarily softcore, but like we're going to see straight up sex scenes in movies like a few years down the road. I really do believe that. Maybe like I give it 3-5 years. The world's going downhill fast, man, and I wholeheartedly believe that stuff's gonna be playing in movie theaters. And what are you gonna do, man? Like, I'm not talking about like actually adult content movies, the ones that you would find on the websites. I'm talking about like the sex scenes are going to get even worse and worse as time goes on, and that is really, and people like to talk about the state of movies right now. Cloud is completely right what he's saying.
More softcore porn than ever is being included in these movies and TV shows. Prime example, the new show that everybody's talking about, The Idol. What the fuck is this show and how the fuck did it get cleared? Yo, I got merch now. Even better, actually, I got a new brand. The brand's called Off Brand.
Hey, looks good. Looks good, but we're gonna skip it, unfortunately. We're gonna skip it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Do that. Go ahead and support the channel and also support me. But besides that,
and I love this channel, by the way. It'll be in the link in the pinned comment description down below if you guys aren't familiar. Cloud does a great job with this content.
Pretty much is. So get back to the video. What the fuck is this show and how the fuck did it get cleared? Like the amount of freaky ass, crazy ass, porn ass shit that's in this goddamn show, it's insane. Like the show is basically the weekend search history, gang. Like this shit is weird as hell. So my main problem,
I love it, dude. I hate to say it. I hate to say it, and I hate to actually look at the state of movies nowadays, but it's true.
With this show is that it could really be a good show if they didn't go overboard with the over-sexualization. Like,
yeah, that's what I hate, and we just made a video recently talking about that. I hate that about some anime shows, and the prime example that I always use is Fire Force. It's a good show, interesting story. I love the artwork. I love everything about it, but then all of a sudden a girl trip and her pants will come off. I'm like, seriously, dude, like, it takes me completely out of the show. You have such fantastic writing. I hear that for a lot of anime shows, but I'm not completely familiar with that. You hear that there's such good writing and such good potential, but they over-sexualize it for some reason, some weird reason.
If you watch the show, it has moments where it just seems like the show could have a lot of potential to be really, really good. But then at the end of every episode, it feels like the show switched the goddamn website is on, bro. Like, what the hell? Like, The Weeknd literally said, and I quote, "Stretch that little pussy." He said this shit in a TV show. What the fuck?
And yeah, would you have found that in like the early 2000s, 2010s even? Would you have found something like that? You wouldn't.
Another wild HBO show like this is Euphoria. Again, shout out to all the actors. Y'all do great jobs. The acting in the show is really good. But this show just goes from chill to like, what the fuck?
And it's smart. You got all the drama. You got all the girls invested in. Why are any guy watching it? The answer is obvious to that.
So quickly, bro. Like, I get the show's supposed to show like a raw, unfiltered representation for how high school is nowadays, but my brother in Christ, that shit is not accurate at all, bro. They go way too far.
I haven't seen it, but I hear that it's insanely graphic. But then again, that could just be depicting high school a few years down the road, because more and more kids are getting exposed to this type of stuff. More and more kids are going to be watching things like Euphoria. More and more kids are going to expect things like that to be the actual high school experience. And more kids are going to be okay with participating in these types of activities and encouraging it.
Now that I think about it, it's not too off like our generation is doing. I ain't gonna lie. But
yeah, no, it's... I don't know exactly what they did, but I can speak for myself going to high school. And I was in high school 9-ish years ago. And it was bad for the things that girls were doing, man. The guys do.
It's just like they do too much. Like, for instance, half the scenes where Sydney Sweeney is in. Like, I swear to God, this show just loves showing off her titties, bro. Like, I get it, they look good, but goddamn, let me watch the goddamn show.
Hang on, who's that?
Or with the other girl who was trying to be like a cam girl or something, like, bro.
Okay. Yeah, there's a big difference between Sydney Sweeney there, but...
Oh, I don't have to see all of that, bro. Like, you know, a quick cut off from the camera is cool. Like, I get showing stuff like that on certain occasions, but like, gang, bro, like, they don't have to show titties every single episode, bro. Like, this is not the hub.
But that's what's gonna keep a lot of guys on. That's what a lot of people are gonna come for. And then all of a sudden, you're not gonna be able to keep their attention without actually showing that, because they're addicted to lust.
Like, yeah, of course I love seeing titties, but like, there's a time and place, bro. Like, I'm trying to see a good show, not just Sydney Sweeney's titties all the time. Actually, I do want to see them all the time, but still, like,
see, that's the problem. That's the problem that everybody has, and that's why nobody ends up complaining about it.
I'm trying to watch the show. I honestly feel like when shows and movies do this, it's kind of lazy. Like, instead of trying to entertain me with good plot, story development, character development, acting, and a good soundtrack, you just resort to showing me titties and ass. I feel like it's lazy as hell. And
now, it's tough because I'm trying to find a way to bring Game of Thrones into this, but I haven't really had a good time to bring Game of Thrones into this, because there are beautifully crafted stories with a lot of nudity in it, and like, I wholeheartedly believe that Game of Thrones is one of them, but even that is just participating in the same problem too. Where's the line that we draw? Should we and I think the best thing to do is just to not have it at all, period, because again, kids are, but it's also the responsibility of the parents to get a hold of their kids and what they're watching. So should this type of content be produced? But the problem is, something like Game of Thrones has a fantastic, structured, good story. They just also have naked girls in it. It's obviously for the male gaze. Nowadays, like Cloud is saying, they're using nudity and they're using attractive women, attractive men to get away with not, having necessarily the best story.
As a society, we shouldn't accept it as much as we do. Now, again, another disclaimer. In no way I'm saying you shouldn't have raw, unfiltered shows. Like, of course, these elements are going to be in those type of raw, unfiltered shows.
It just has to be necessary, man. I think that's the problem, and not just like gooning content.
We want those elements in these raw, unfiltered shows. But you got to know the balance for it. You can't cover up a bad show of ass and titties. I don't care what you say.
I mean, I think they can. And they've been doing that. Look how successful some of these shows have become. They are, and they can.
We as a society can kind of move past this shit. But if you're a writer or producer who watches my videos, stop over-sexualizing shows and movies, bro. Focus on the plot, the character development, and the actual show being good, and not just the titties looking good, bro. Because if I want to see titties, I can just go to Twitter or the Hub.
That's exactly true, though. And that's what I don't get, and that's why... Well, I do get it, because again, everybody's addicted to lust and they can't control their own brain, but there is a time and a place for those types of things, and I legitimately do sit down to watch TV shows and not like to get off, and I don't do that.
Follow the social.
Fantastic video. There's a reason why shows like Attack on Titan are so praised, because there is not an element of sex in there one little bit, and it was a beautifully crafted story. Things like, Better Call Saul too. Whenever I think about like my favorite shows of all time, it doesn't have this same issue. There are shows that can completely 100% stand out from the rest of the world just by being well-structured movies. But I think it just goes to show, man, it's not going to get any better. We're going to have people making their own AI movies nowadays. Just at the time of recording this video, literally today, I think it's Grok version 3 can create any arcade game that you want, and next year supposedly it's going to be able to create AAA games. So we are not far off at all from people making their own gooning movies where they're the main character, with 10,000 Sydney Sweeneys and 10,000 Zendayas. That is going to be the future of movies. I wholeheartedly believe that, and people are gonna damage their brains and their dopamine receptors and everything that makes them happy more and more as time goes on. Nobody's going to be getting better, and the movies are only going to include more things like this in order to keep your attention, maybe for 2 hours, to get you to spend a little bit of money at a ticket. I think that it's going to get to a point where movie theaters are going to actually be, showing movies that aren't really structured stories, and it's literally just gooning content for people. I have no faith in this world. But you know how I mentioned earlier about that problem with anime, it being over-sexualized, things like that? There are more problems with anime shows, and we dove into that in this video. I would love to have you guys check it out over there. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, everybody.